Effects of homelessness in society. So, solving homelessness is not a new concept. Homelessness has been affecting society and the economy for many years. However, despite the acknowledgement of this issue, it continues to grow in our own backyards. Um, we assume homelessness and poverty and world hunger, occur in primarily third world countries, out of sight and out of mind. However, when we examine the numbers which provide a reality to the concern of this issue, it is quite blatantly apparent that this is an issue which has long required a solution. To conclude solutions to homelessness, it is important to first identify the specific causes that relate to and often lead to homelessness. So, mental health. The first issue I would like to discuss is mental health. Mental health is one of the leading causations to homelessness, often as mental health majority leads to drug and alcohol abuse. As studies show, such as a study from Yale University, shows that a majority of homeless individuals become homeless as children. Often teens become doomed to homelessness as much too many grow up in a problematic situation. These situations may relate to their family's social economic situation, the influence of others within their area, the abandonment of parental figures such as children in foster care with an absent parent, feelings of isolation in comparison to the rest of their family, etc. These issues may make a young adult feel as though their best course of action is to set out on their own. Sometimes that may be their only course of action. However, due to this feeling of being on the run and betrayal of loved ones, they establish a fear of authority and those in power. This makes sense, as often they will leave due to their experiences of abuse of power. The fear of authority leads to a cycle of rejecting sources of help, leading these young adults to grow up within a situation they feel that they cannot escape. Not to mention the fact that being hired as a homeless individual is nearly impossible, which ultimately leads to illegal activities as a result of having no other way to survive. So my next point is domestic violence. So another major reason as to why homelessness occurs is the effects that domestic violence can have on an individual. As a statistic from the New York National Center for Children in Poverty states that 22 to 57% of homeless women claim the primary cause of their homelessness relates to past issues of domestic abuse, and that over 38% of domestic abuse victims become homeless. In perspective, we can understand how domestic abuse may cause homelessness, as many who face domestic abuse and feel as though they have no way to escape their situation other than to run may have had any sources of their own wealth stripped away from them due to the abusive and dictating habits of their partner, leaving the victim, who must escape this toxic situation, being left with nothing and nowhere to go. This may also contribute to the fear of authority mentality, as the concept of authority has been made to feel corrupt more often than not for these individuals. And finally, structural issues. So, finally, one of the most major reasons for homelessness and why it continues to grow is structural or economical issues. As we have seen time and time again in 1901, 1929, 1979, 2007, and now in 2020, economic recessions and shifts in the economic climate have a dramatic impact on homelessness and always lead to an increase of homelessness, such as during the Great Depression, when many millions lost their jobs and housing due to a great economic recession. The economy's crash was so bad at that time that it wasn't until the war and welfare came along that the economy finally started to pick up once again. We have seen this recently as well, as the coronavirus has dramatically affected the economy and the stock market. Throughout the past months of the pandemic, over 3 million workers have been affected by the inability for jobs to support their workers, as the requirement to quarantine has affected nearly every job in all different countries. One of the greatest examples of the effects of the pandemic has had on the global economy is the record-breaking crash of the Dow Jones at a low of over 24,000 points. In perspective, we can recognize how much money this stock market crash has cost many people. In reality, Wall Street contains so much wealth, not just in the United States but worldwide, meaning individuals halfway across the world would have most definitely been affected by this. Realizing the impacts the pandemic has had on the global economy, we can effectively infer that homeless numbers will spike. An article from CBC has concluded that the pandemic has even affected those who are already homeless, as the requirement to socially distance has affected the numbers of available beds within homeless shelters. So, what can we do to solve this issue? Many different sources have many different perceived solutions for homelessness. My analysis and opinion is formed on the representation Finland has had on how to solve or at least diminish the numbers of homelessness. Finland's homelessness numbers, have dramatically decreased after they found solutions in establishing permanent housing solutions for homeless individuals, which is supported by their municipal or local governments. And they have created long-term solutions in access to affordable housing. Um, Although these solutions may be expensive, they have proved to be much more cost effective in the long term scheme of things, as they are not constantly looking for solutions for dealing with homelessness. So, however, personally, the two solutions which I feel could also be greatly effective in the solution to homelessness would be more training for youth in the workforce, which would provide a much more long term solution for homelessness, as well as provide opportunity for younger generations, as well as affordable and easily accessible mental health options to assist in curbing mental health and addiction issues, which largely contribute to homelessness. Here are my references.